Hi friends, Mindy here. I am going to be doing a review today of these new Calliograph markers from Archer and Olive. These, I actually purchased these from Archer and Olive, but they do have them on the By the Well for God website, and I will have my affiliate link down in the description box if you're interested in picking these up. I know that they currently are in stock there as well. So I'm just showing here, I have, they released two sets of colors, which are the Tropicals and the Jewel. These are, the backs kind of show what colors there are, and then they decided to change their packaging with these a little bit, and they come in these more compact packages. I actually really love the packaging on these now, so just keeps everything really nice. And so there's 10 colors in here, and each marker is dual tipped, so there's a broad tip and a fine tip, and we'll get into that in a second. But here's kind of the top side view of all of the colors that are in here. And I would imagine that, you know, eventually they'll be releasing their other colorways as well to kind of match their acrylograph markers. But I just thought I would go through here and swatch these and talk a little bit about them in kind of a follow-up to my other video when I unboxed these and kind of compared my sub box set to some Tombow markers. And there's a few differences between the sub box calligraphs and these that you can get as sets. And the main difference here is that the two ends are the same color. In the sub box, the two ends were different colors. So when you get these, the color that you see on the cap is going to be both in the broad tip and in the fine tip. So I'm just kind of showing you what these look like here. If you've never seen a brush marker, these are water-based markers. And so you have, again, a broad and a narrow, and they're designed to have a nib that really springs back. And one of the most notable changes from Archer and Olive for these markers is the fact that these have ink names on them now on the actual barrel of the pen. So you can easily identify which of your markers by name now, which is a great feature. And I'm just going to pull out a Tombow really quick just so you can kind of see the difference. Tombows also have a brush nib. I went ahead and pulled out one that was pink since I have a pink calligraph here. You can see the tips are pretty similar. I think the Tombow is actually a little bit longer, and they're shaped just a little bit differently, but I think the Archer and Olive actually has a little bit more spring to it. So, and then on a Tombow, the other end is a bullet nib, and then the calligraph is actually a fine tip that's more similar to like a Fudenozoki. Is that how you say it? I forget. Anyway, like a brush pen. Also, the Pentel sign I think is similar to that. So, anyway. The size of it, like the length of it, is very similar. It's just a little bit shorter than a Tombow, which actually is nice because I find the size of the Tombows a little bit daunting sometimes, especially when I'm trying to like take them somewhere because they're just really long. But anyway, I'm just going to kind of go through here and swatch all of these markers with the both the broad and the narrow tip. And I'm not the best hand letterer, admittedly, but going through here you can see it's just really nice that they actually have the color names on here. So I'm going through in the pink, and then this one is mint, which is really beautiful. And then one of the things you'll notice is I'm kind of doing this quickly just for the sake of this video, but if you're really doing hand lettering, one trick is really to go slow, and the amount of pressure that you're putting on your downstrokes is really what gives it that calligraphy look. So you put more pressure on the downstroke, and then when you're coming up you put light pressure, and that's, you know, working on those kind of strokes is just something that kind of helps you get used to doing hand lettering. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm still practicing and still working on improving this. But you can see you can get really broad stroke with the tip of that. And don't be afraid to really push down hard on your downstrokes. I know it can kind of feel like you're going to break your marker or whatever, but they really are designed for this purpose. And they're, you know, so they have a certain snap to it. And so as soon as you come up off of putting the pressure, it will snap back right into shape. The only place like on the fine tip nib is just a little bit different. It doesn't kind of snap back quite as quickly or as easily, I find. So you have to be a little bit more careful with how much pressure you put on that end on the fine nib. And this is the only one that where I was kind of like questioning the color name because it's lime green, and to me this is just a really bright yellow. I don't know. I don't know if it got mislabeled or if this is really just, I don't know. I was just really surprised to see that the name of this marker was, I even had to double check it, that it was lime green. So anyway, I'm just going through here, and I know watching somebody swatch pens is probably not the most exciting experience, but I did want to point out that, again, these markers are water based, and so if you want to, you can kind of even take a water brush or even a paintbrush with just a little bit of water. If you want to kind of create a shadow, you can kind of blend them out, and there's some different effects that you can do with water-based markers in comparison to the acrylographs that are the other pen set that Archer & Olive has released. Those are basically acrylic like paint pens. So you have, you know, the two different kinds. These are obviously not an opaque ink, so you can see through them, whereas the acrylographs are paint pens, and so they will be opaque and they will cover up, and you can actually paint in layers and different things with the acrylographs. So there are definitely different uses for each type of pen depending on what your preferences are. So that's just something to consider. Personally, I like both. I also just love pens in general, so I tend to collect a lot of them. That's just personal preference. I kind of feel like there's a time and a place for both things. So if you're doing artwork, or you want to do like some coloring in, like if you really in your bullet journaling or whatever are wanting to do really decorative pages, you might find that the acrylographs are what you're looking for, because you can really paint with them essentially, because they are paint pens. So whereas this is really good for lettering and for practicing calligraphy or doing you know, hand lettering, word art, and that kind of stuff. So just pointing those out for the two differences kind of between the acrylographs. And I should have maybe pulled a few of those out so you could see, because these are complementary colors to the acrylographs. So the tropicals and the jewels are the same colorways as the acrylograph markers, so you can kind of have both sets. So this, I got to this point, and it's really, you can't really tell as much on camera from what I can tell, but this is the only marker where the two ends are not the same color. And it's really strange to me, because this marker actually reminds me of the marker that is in the sub box. And I don't know if this was just something that was kind of a mistake with my set that I got. I'm actually going to email Archer & Olive. Their customer support is amazing. So if you ever have problems with Archer & Olive products, be sure to reach out to them, because they're amazing. And I just swatched next to each other. The second set right here is my pen from the sub box, and the colors are identical. And so I'm not sure what happened here. Like I said, I'm going to reach out to them and find out, but hopefully, you know, I don't know if that's just the way that this marker is designed. I don't know if it was just a mistake. I'm not really sure. The only reason I know which marker is which is because one has the color name on it and the sub box marker doesn't. That's really the only difference. And as far as I understand, the colors that are in the regular boxes, both nibs should be the same color. So I'm going to have to follow up on that, and I can report back on that situation. But I'm just doing, you know, this is literally just right out of the box. I purchased these markers for myself, and so I'm just giving you an honest review, and this is honestly what happened. So those were the tropical colors. I'm not going to make you sit through me doing the jewels, but I'm going to go through the same process. I'm just going to do the broad nib and the fine nib, and then write out the names of all the colors, and then I'll show you what that looks like when they're all done. But again, so these are the jewel set. You can see there's two colors, the maroon and the mauve pearl are probably the closest two colors in my opinion out of this set. But the jewel tones are one of my favorite sets that Archer and Olive has. I just think the colors are so, so, so beautiful. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful if you're on the fence about buying these markers. They're beautiful colors. They're, you know, pretty typical for dual brush tipped markers, you know, except that you have the broad and the fine tip. So if you like this video and if you found it helpful, I would really appreciate it if you gave my video a like. It helps my channel get out there to other people who might be interested. And I'm just going to write a couple things here. I'm just writing out hello. This is the purple. This is actually from the tropical set. And then just by comparison, I'm using a Tombow here, so you can kind of see they're very similar in nib width and everything. So, and then down here at the bottom, I'm just going to show you, depending on the pressure that you're putting, this is the broad tip, so you can get a pretty fine line with that. And depending on how much pressure you put, you can get a good variance between your line widths. And then this one, not as many. You have to be a little bit more careful with it, with the fine tip of there. But you can kind of see, you know, all the varying strokes that you can make with just this one marker. So anyway, like I said, if you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. And if you've not already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel. Leave any questions or comments down below, and I'll try to get back to you about them. And until next time, bye-bye.